Welcome back. If you're just joining me now, we're just in the middle of a conversation with MP for Battleford's Lloydminster, Gerry Ritz. We're just in the middle of talking about the economy. You were just mentioning that the Canadian economy has bounced back very well. Now, not a lot of other countries have, and you said the U.S. economy hasn't. What do you think is the difference? Why are we bouncing back so fast compared to our neighbour down south there?
Well, I think a good portion of it in hindsight was we were proactive. We started cutting taxes and looking at burdensome regulatory situations in budgets 2006, 2007, and so on, leading up to this. We also did a very targeted situation with our stimulus monies into infrastructure, which of course the country was deficit in. We also have a lot different banking system than, say, the U.S. does, and the European Union and so forth like that. So all of those things coupled together stood us in good stead as we bounced along with everyone else.
Now, agriculture was down last year. They did a nice recovery, though, towards the end there, and we've had a lot of snow this year. What do you think that means going into this fresh agriculture year?
Well, I think farmers, like any businessmen, are going to have to, analyze their own business plan and see where they ended up last year and what's in their best interests moving forward. Certainly, I want to make sure that everybody out there takes a look at the business risk suite of programs that we have. They have proven to be a worthwhile situation when it comes to grains and oilseeds. Of course, we saw them down for a number of years, and now they're picking back up again. They've had a couple of good years where, the quality and quantity of product has been good, even with the floods and the droughts and so on that we've had from time to time. So I want to make sure that farmers take a look at that and make sure that they have that in their toolkit if it serves them in their best interest. Having said that, certainly we constantly analyze the cost of inputs, as what farmers do. They're going to look at the cost of fertilizers and chemicals and so forth. We're working extremely hard as a government to make sure they have access to the generics, the less expensive no-name products and so on that are out there. So we've had a concerted effort on different fertilizers and chemicals and pesticides and so on to make them available to Canadian farmers as well. And
this is just some of the incentive programs that you've launched. Tell me about more of those and maybe more that's upcoming in this year.
Well, a lot of it's based on reaction, the business risk suite. If you have a problem with the weather, then your crop insurance and so on kicks in. We don't have that same parallel in the livestock sector, so they've been a little more at risk from weather-related situations and market-driven. So we developed another pillar called AgriRecovery, and we've been able to put that into play here in Saskatchewan and Alberta, for that matter, last year because of the drought that affected a lot of the cattle industry. This year we're looking at doing the same type of thing when it comes to flooding in those situations. So we do a very comprehensive analysis as to what's required and how it can be put in. Of course, our analysis was delayed this year because harvest was so late. And it's fine, we can make the analysis for the grains and oilseed sector earlier on in the season, but when it comes to livestock, you have to wait until actual harvest is over to see what kind of frozen crops are out there that will be feed now, what's available in straws and forages and so on, and where is it? Does it have to be moved from here to here, and is that all that's required, and so forth? So that analysis is ongoing. We're getting very, very close to having that finalized.
Now, even here locally in the North Battleford, I believe there's going to be another university agriculture program there. I believe it's the University of Saskatchewan is having a thing there. Do you think this is sort of representative of just more people getting into agriculture?
Well, I think there's a growing demand for agricultural products around the world. Any of these international symposiums we attend, it's all predicated on food security and sustainability. And the number of meetings that I had in the last 6 months of last year, it didn't matter where we went. Nobody was talking about cost. They were talking about, can you supply?
Right.
We're seeing situations in Australia now where a lot of their grain land is underwater. We're seeing the same thing in Brazil. We're seeing it in, Argentina. A lot of the major food-producing areas of the world are under attack from weather-related situations. So it comes back to Canada. Can you supply? And certainly we've been able to do that. Even last year with the problems we had with flood and so forth, the quantity and quality of product that came off, I think, astounded everybody. And of course the prices are reflective of that demand.
Headed back into the new year here, we can't help but sort of start to think about budgets a little bit. Any spoilers?
Spoilers. Well, everybody will analyze it to see what it does for them and so on like that. We're in a situation where this is going to be a tight budget. There's no doubt in my mind about that, and there won't be any sector that won't be affected in some way or other. Having said that, we as a government have always assessed agriculture as a major foundational building block of this great country. Third largest contributor to the GDP. Will we, escape unscathed through the budget? I doubt it. Certainly there'll be some tightening all the way around, and that's why I, advise farmers to really take a good hard look at their business plan because the government will be doing the same thing.
Rumors of Springer election have been buzzing. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, there's always the potential for an election when you're in a minority parliament. We've had the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Ignatieff, draw several lines in the sand and then fall into them. He's done that again. We'll have to wait and see. Certainly, Canadians aren't looking forward to an election. They recognize the good economic work that's been done, and we need to keep moving forward with that and build a stable economy.
What do you think are the best things that are coming out of our region this year, looking ahead?
Well, oil and gas is always strong. We're seeing oil back at $90 a barrel. We're seeing a growing demand for more and more people to come here and work. That's great. You look at the Lloydminster area has always been a bit of an anomaly when it comes to growth. Even when everyone else is shrinking or hanging on, Lloyd has always continued to grow. So it's always been a pleasure to serve this area. Very positive mentality here. I think we're going to see a growing demand for agricultural products, and of course this area can deliver in spades on, you name it, we can grow it, we can produce it.
Excellent. It's going to be a great year.
I think so.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
If you're just joining us now, this has been our conversation with MP for Battleford's Lloydminster, Gerry Ritz. Your top news headlines are after the break.